Good morning, everybody. Excuse how I look. It is noon, but this morning at 9 a.m. I went to the gym with one of my good friends, and we did like a group fitness class, but it was a speed and agility class. And I just decided that it's gonna rain and I'm probably gonna do other things today and cleaning and all of that stuff. And so I'm just waiting until a little bit later this afternoon to shower and everything. So I am brewing up some coffee, and CJ actually just left for the rest of the day because he has a wedding to DJ tonight, and so they have to get there a few hours early to set up, and then he has to leave a couple hours before that to run to the office to pick up some equipment. And yeah, so I have the day with the kids, which are attempting to nap right now, if you're wondering. Remy's been sleeping for about an hour, but Charlie is still not asleep yet. She is, goodness, a handful. She first decided that she didn't want to stay in her room. Then she decided she wanted to change her clothes. Then she was like thrashing around and screaming and came back out of her room. And then she decided she wanted to read. She's just trying, this is a toddler's way of fighting sleep. And the problem is if she doesn't have a nap, she will just be a bear this afternoon and most likely fall asleep in the car. And then whenever we get where we're going and I have to wake her up, it's gonna be just terrible. So I do make her get one nap in a day. Even if it's only like 45 minutes to an hour, she really, really, really needs it. But I wanted to take this time to kind of do a chatty, I guess, like life update, but I also need to tend to my plants. So I'll show you my big mama monstera right here, and look at this massive pot that we found on Facebook Marketplace. So it's in, I think, a 17 or 18 inch pot, but it needs to come out of there. It's so root bound. So we got this, hi Dutchie, massive pot. And I will show you, like, to scale. I'll insert a picture right here of me literally in the pot. It's massive. And we took some fun pictures with the kids in the pot too. And then I got these pots. I need to repot multiple things. That's gonna have to wait until I have CJ's help though, because obviously that is not a one-person job. But I have a couple of other plants. I go to Old Time Pottery to get plant saucers like this, and I thought I had a small one somewhere. Oh no, oh, this was it. These are two new plants, although my collection's completely changed probably since the last time that I did a plant video, which was probably like my plant tour, house tour last year. But anyways, I decided that I wanted to mount staghorn ferns. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but you get like barn wood or cedar or something, pressure treated wood that can that you can handle moisture. But anyways, you kind of have to like mess up the root ball a little bit and get majority of the soil off, and then you use sphagnum moss and basically just kind of like cover the plant and mount it on the wood. And you could use twine or clear fishing line and like kind of wrap it around. Anyways, I'll probably do a completely separate video of me doing that. I'm not actually doing that today, but I just watered these recently. So there's two different, there's this one that will be mounted like that, and then this little guy will be mounted like this. I think that's the top. But anyways, I just think they're so cute. Anyways, that's the other saucer that I bought. That's what I was looking for. But I watered them, so I was letting them kind of just drip in there. Anyways, though, I got this pot for a plant I need to up pot. And then both of these larger pots also. They're just plastic. But I like the like terracotta color and then this green color for my room. And I think that's where all three of these are gonna go. So anyways, I was just going to update you in between taking care of plants and then also kind of talk to you about plants. And yeah, so I'm going to start with coffee. All right, so coffee is made. And I still make my coffee the exact same. Ever since I started Optavia, I use the Torani sugar-free syrup and just, I don't know how much I use, maybe like a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half total. But I put in a little bit of sugar-free syrup and we either use the hazelnut, vanilla, or caramel. And then I put 3 tablespoons of half and half. I used to need all kinds of sugar in my coffee, and ever since I started Optavia, I thought that was actually going to be a hard switch, but it tastes great. And now whenever I go to Starbucks or any coffee place, that's how I order my coffee too now, is just with just a tiny amount of half and half, and then 2 pumps of whatever sugar-free syrup that coffee place has. But anyways, I love it that way. And while I was making my coffee, Charlie came out of her room again, and she's so grumpy. I don't know why she's fighting sleep so bad, but she is gonna have to take a nap, or else the rest of the day is just gonna be bad. Anyways though, let's get started on plant care stuff, and I will just walk around with you. So what I do, because it is the growing season, so I do fertilize my plants, but I use this fish emulsion fertilizer, and my plants seem to love it. So what I do, and it's just to warn you, if you have never used this before, it reeks. So yeah. So anyways, I just kind of eyeball it, honestly, and just put a tiny bit in there. And this is a 1 gallon watering can. But I just will fill that up with like lukewarm water. You don't want to water your plants with cold water. I have made that mistake before. Yeah. So I will just fill that up, and then we will start, I'm not sure. I'm not going to water the monstera because I would actually rather that be a little on the dry side. It'll make it easier to repot. But I have some plants over here hung up, so we'll just start in the kitchen and just kind of move from room to room. Okay, so like I said, those have already been watered. This, me and Jula Pothos, I just watered recently. It is in a terracotta pot though, so I'm finding that I'm having to water this every like 4 to 5 days. And it's also getting a lot of, this kitchen window is a west facing window, so it does get really good light. And then this little guy, I actually can't remember what this one's called. I always think it's a Stromanthe Trio Star, but I'm not sure. I don't think that's right. But it is still, actually, I'm gonna give it a little bit because these plants like to stay on the moist side, like not sitting in water, but they also don't want to completely dry out either. So I'll put that back up on its hook. And then my tiger fern is just going crazy in here, and that one actually has a drip tray, so I will just climb up there and just water it and keep it up there. And of course, as I do that, I spill it on my leg and on the floor. But I do not want that fishy smelling water in my kitchen. Okay, and then this guy, my little Bonnie spider plant, sorry about the lighting if you can't see it. I watered that one recently, so that one's fine. And then this one is a Tradescantia. I believe it's called baby or bunny bellies because it's like extremely soft. Let's see. and it's pretty dry. So we are gonna take that down and water this one in the sink because it's massive. And this one dries out a lot. I think it's probably pretty root bound. Eventually I should repot it, but I just can't get myself to do it because it's just going to be a pain in that hanging basket. Okay, let's see. There's no other plants in the kitchen. And with Remy sleeping down the hall, I'm gonna run into the guest bathroom, like the hallway bathroom, but I'm gonna have to be quiet. So I'm just going to quickly show you watering all of those. All right, so bathroom's done, kitchen's done. I figured I might as well update. We've just been busy. I have been continuing my Optavia, but I have switched to the Optavia 4 and 2 program, which is more geared towards, it is still weight loss, but it'll be a lot slower because you're eating 4 fuelings and 2 lean and greens to support a more active lifestyle. And I am training for a half marathon in October. So I've been working out probably like 3 to 4 days a week. But in doing that, I do have to consume more calories than the 5 and 1 program so that my body will not like start using my lean muscle mass for energy and eating away at that. So I kind of just plateaued. I lost a total of 40 pounds so far. My ultimate goal was 50, but just with the nice weather and just wanting to tone up after losing so much weight, there were just spots on my body that I really wanted to start toning, and my race in a few months, I just wanted to be good and prepared for that. So I did want to start working out, and I will continue to lose weight, but I also have been really bad the past month, and I've had ice cream a few times. There for like a week or two, I was obsessed with dark chocolate covered almonds, and I would just eat a handful of those every day. So I haven't gained any weight, I just haven't been losing any. So I lost that 40, and I've just kind of hit a plateau. So, but I am still loving the program, and I'm loving that I can transition to something different that like fits my lifestyle at the time. So anyways, I'm really enjoying it, and it's still super easy and quick and convenient, and I still feel great. So I don't, even when on the days that I work out, I don't feel like I'm starving or anything. But yeah, I'm still loving it. Okay, so we're over here. I did water this my little spathiphyllum. It's some type of peace lily. I think it's called platinum. But this is actually my grandma's memorial plant. I have, like, it has just gotten just massive. and I've taken cuttings of this little syngonium because it got too tall, and then I water propagated them and put them down here. But we will water this guy. Not too much though, because I repotted it in this pot that has this little, I don't know what you call this necessarily, but the little catch, the little draining, gosh, why can I not think of words right now? Just the little like draining tray for excess water. Or I believe you can also like bottom water in that. My little Thanksgiving cactus. And I don't know much about these because I haven't even had this very long. I mean, it seems like it's happy. It bloomed for me last Thanksgiving, so just one little bloom. This is my variegated Fatsia. Let me see. Yeah, that needs to be watered. And then my little lemon lime is in like a really, really chunky soil mix. But it's still kind of like wet in the bottom, so I'm not going to water that. But she is just so cute. It's putting off like smaller and smaller leaves, so I don't know if it's like just wanting more light or what, but I actually kind of like it just in this little full pot. And then my aglaonema down here does need some water. It's really dry. And then my little ponytail palm, is that not the cutest little thing? It's like crazy looking on top. And then I got this little pot to kind of match it, but it needs some water. It's gonna be hard to water though because it's in such a tiny pot, but they don't need a ton of water. I think it's just gonna have to bottom water in some of that down there. It should soak it up. And then my Birkin, I don't think that needs anything. And then my little ZZs over here, I don't water these often at all, like maybe once every few weeks. Because that's one of the quickest ways to kill a ZZ is by giving it too much, by overwatering it. And then my Sansevieria whale fin is tucked back here in the corner. I have two little fins in there, and it is pretty dry. I honestly can't remember the last time that I watered that. I also try to only water that every few weeks also, but I will give it a little bit. So yeah, that's this little plant corner over here. And then I moved my goldens down here. I don't know if you remember, but they were up there on that big beam above my kitchen, but they were just getting so long. So I'm not really sure what to do with them. And then I have a little Brazil in the middle. So I will have to fill up my watering can because it's almost empty. Okay, so I have another gallon of water ready to go. So another update. So there for probably like 2 or 3 months, I had this cyst on my foot. So that actually prohibited me from running, and I was so busy with doctor's appointments and I don't know, just we were going out of town multiple times. We went to Omaha on a road trip. We went to Wichita a few times. Life was just really, really busy. Oh, and the cyst on my foot is gone. It resolved itself, but I also was babysitting other kids for a while, so that actually was why I kind of like had to put the camera down for like about 2 months, because I was watching 2 other kids for about 6 weeks, and then I watched like my nephew a couple times and other friends' kids once or twice. And then we had a COVID scare because we were, what do you call it? We were exposed, and luckily we were all negative. And then Remy had 2 ear infections back to back. So anyways, it's just been kind of a lot to deal with, all of the traveling and family birthdays and Charlie's birthday, and then Remy being sick, and I just did not feel like picking up the camera. Okay, we're in my room now, and it looks completely different, so I will show you. We got this monstera in Omaha, and I actually don't know if it needs to be watered or not. It is very root bound. This is actually one of the plants that's going in one of those planters, so I'm actually not going to water it. I'm going to water it after I repot it. And then this giant Cebu Blue needs to be watered, I believe. Yeah, it's pretty dry. I'll probably have to get a tray and bottom water that because it doesn't have anything underneath it, and I don't want the water spilling all over. All right, so I have my tray. I'm going to gently take this guy down. I think I might end up cutting this eventually, because it is just, I mean, you can see it's almost touching the floor. So I think it needs to be pruned a little bit. It would probably help it. But I will just lay it on the floor. Stick the pot in the tray. And then I guess I'm not really bottom watering it. It's just gonna catch the water. But I'll just water it until I see that it's going down in the little tray. It's pretty dry. Sheesh. That was a thirsty plant. I need to get on a better routine of watering my plants. Okay, it's going down in the tray now. So I will just let that sit. And anything that goes down in the tray, honestly, it might just pull it back up if it needs some more water. This is my, I'll put the name of it on the screen because now I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a W, but it's a philodendron big leaf. And this one is pretty dry too. And I actually got this really cute big white ceramic pot from Michael's. They were having a half off, 50% off their pot sale. And so I got this really cute big white ceramic pot for, I want to say it was like $12 or maybe it was 18, I can't remember, but it's a really nice pot. CJ's Jade, that he is eventually going to just defoliate it because as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but on that white leaf, it has like powdery mildew or something. If you are familiar with that, if you can put down in the comments below. I've tried treating it and it won't go away. So anyways, he's gonna defoliate it, and we have bonsai wire, and then he's just gonna like make it look like a more decent bonsai'd jade. So I have all of these plants on this shelf right here, and then my Crimson Queen Hoya right here that I'm going to quickly go through and water. All right, so all of those are taken care of, and I was going to show you, so I have a little drip tray in this macrame hanger, and so I'm actually just gonna fill that tray a few inches, and then the roots will just pull up the water and water this Hoya, because I'm definitely not going to try to take this huge thing down. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is water in that tray. So we will move on to my big golden that I am going to train to go climb all the way up there. And if you guys didn't know, this was just one basket of golden pothos that I got. It was like a hanging basket. And so this is what the leaves start out as, and as it climbs, this is what they turn into, like the size of my hand. So that is my goal, to continue to have this climb and get bigger and bigger. But it is, it's actually not that dry yet. So I think I'm not gonna water that because these do not appreciate being overwatered. My little fiddly fig that I got from my stepmom that she was going to throw out, and I just could not let her do it. So I put it in this cute little basket, but I just watered that one. And then this is actually one of my newer plants. It's this little wax ivy that I have in this little hanging pot, but I just watered that one recently. Let's see how my orchids are doing. They still have green roots, so I don't know that I will. Yeah, I mean, the roots are not, they're still green, so I don't think I'm gonna water it yet. I like to wait until, I don't know a ton about orchids, but I do like to wait until the roots are like all the way that silvery color. I actually just snapped off this flower on accident. That makes me sad. It's so pretty, but it's okay. We will just set that right there. Okay, so moving on. This guy could use a little bit. This is actually 2 neon pothos baskets, and let me see. They are still fairly wet, so I'm not going to water that. This guy is beautiful, but he's another one that we're going to be repotting because he's just so root bound. So I'm not going to water him either, even though he desperately needs a drink. And then these are my melanochrysum over here, and then this is a splendid that I actually took a cutting from, you can see, to give to my sister, but I just recently watered that, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'll show you the cutting though that she's getting. I have it. It is just beautiful. Hopefully you can see it in there. But I have it in here just in sphagnum. There's no, it's just all moss. Oh, excuse me. But I have this cup taped on it for some humidity. My little string of hearts, I normally just feel them, and if they feel like super bendable, I mean, they're supposed to be more like thick succulent leaves, so if they're really flat and like bendable, then I'll water it, but these are still like plump and hard leaves, so I'm not going to water that. This little peperomia I watered recently. This watermelon peperomia, I was just going to do an experiment and see if I could just grow it in water. And then my little Fittonia. Look how pretty that is. The leaves are like silvery. But that one is pretty dry too, so I'll water that one. And then I'm propagating my albo syngonium, even though a few of the leaves are not going to make it. That's okay. This guy I just recently watered and it's putting out a new leaf. I propagated this a long time ago. It's a really slow grower. And then my cissus is moist. My ant plant could probably use some water. Because this one I have heard that it will not come back from being underwatered. And see, like, it lost a couple of leaves, and this one looks like it's on its way out, but it does have new leaves coming, so that's exciting. This plant is just so beautiful. And then my little vanilla orchid could probably use a little bit, and it's in a little draining cup. And then my Celtipicana is like with this little wandering dude. I just thought it was cute all in that. So, but those two, my dragon scale, those are still pretty moist because I just watered them recently. So let's see. Now we have this top layer of plants, or this top level. So I will check all of those now. Okay, so I actually watered all of those fairly recent. So just that last little wandering dude is the only thing I had to water. And then I went through, there was only a couple of these. Excuse the ugly paint over there, little paint swatch. But anyways, all of those are good. This tetrasperma over here needs to be watered, but it is the third plant we're gonna be repotting because it's also extremely root bound. And then the last plant that I have up here is this hanging basket of Snow Queen pothos. It's gonna be so pretty once it's all vining, but I just literally just water this one up here until it starts to drain out. So that's the nice part about it being directly over my tub is it can just drain out directly into there. So okay, so I have all my plants. I'm repotting the monstera, my wide form Adansonii, and then this little tetrasperma. And so I have this Happy Frog soil in this ginormous bag. But then I also bought a bag of perlite because I just want to make sure that my soil is as well draining as possible, because I'm just putting them in plastic pots. They're not terracotta pots that will absorb some of the moisture, and I just don't want to overwater these plants. So I think I'm actually just gonna dump this in this pot. There's no holes in this pot, and so I think I'm just gonna mix my soil in there because I'll need soil in there anyways for the monstera when CJ gets home. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, well, it's a little while later and both babies are awake, so I had to pause for a minute, but I also had to vacuum up the floor. I don't recommend repotting in your kitchen. So, oh well, lesson learned. But I got my tetrasperma repotted, and then I used one of the little nursery pots from, I think that pot came in, and I up potted this Dieffenbachia because it was in a tiny little 4-inch pot and definitely needed something bigger. But this guy's really pretty. I actually don't even know what, I thought it was a silver bay, but it's not. But I will show you my other plants I up potted. All right, so the other two are right here. That's how this turned out. It's not actually gonna stay there because obviously this is just really tall and that looks like crap. So, but I got it repotted in this, and I think that it looks really good in there. And I have, I think 3 to 4 vines that I'm gonna train to grow up, and then it'll fill in and you won't even be able to see the pole. And then I repotted the monstera in that big pot, which it desperately needed.
Me, Mom.
Hi. Do you want to say hi? And that is an empty bottle of hand sanitizer, so nobody freak out. But I'm gonna pause for now, and I will hop back on here a little bit later whenever I show you us repotting that ginormous monstera. So that should be interesting. All right, guys, it is a little while later. Let me turn down the monitor so that you don't hear. Can you hear that? Oh, it wasn't even on me. The Jungle Book is playing for the kids. Anyways, it's a little while later. It's almost 7 o'clock. And I did do some plant shopping. I took care of all my plants earlier. And then I was like, man, this is kind of overwhelming. Why do I have all of these plants? And then I go somewhere and I just can't. Oh, also, I didn't show you guys my new light, or not really my light. The ceiling fan is not changed, but we changed the blades on them. Let me turn off the light. But look at that. Isn't that so pretty? I just feel like it goes with the theme of my room so well. That was a little sneak peek of my new plant. But I got, where was I at? Oh, a local nursery. But this is it. It's called a Ficus umbellata, or sometimes people call it the Ficus Everest. But, I mean, that's my hand. So you can see, and I have pretty big hands. But they're just massive, and there's a new baby leaf coming out. But there's actually 2 different plants in here, but I just love it. And then I went by Lowe's, and that's just a plastic cover pot, but it matches like the other terracotta colors that I was going for. And I just stuck it right there. Obviously you can tell now I'm like using up the chairs, but this plant, Ficus, needs a lot of sun. And so my room, especially right here in this spot, gets a ton of light. And my room is pretty warm and humid throughout the day, especially right now, like in the afternoon. My house is pretty warm and humid. So anyways, but I wanted to come back on here because I'm getting impatient because I have this ginormous pot of soil and perlite. And my kids keep going over to it, and they think it's funny to drop toys in it now. And then they run to me, well, Charlie runs to me and tells me what toys are in the dirt. So, and that thing is heavy, so I don't want to try to move it. Anyways, long story short, I am going to try to repot the monstera by myself. I think that I can. I hope that I can. It doesn't look like it would be that hard. I don't know. But my plan is to cut the nursery pot off of it. And then I already have soil in there, so I'm just going to mix up the perlite. Dallas, no. I'm just going to mix up the perlite down there and leave that layer. I mean, it's like a third probably full of soil. And then, so I'll cut the nursery pot off and then literally just lift it up and set it in there if I can. I actually have not ever tried to lift that before, but CJ said it's pretty heavy. So we'll see. But I figured I would turn the camera back on because I charged my battery a little bit more. But the kids are in the room watching Jungle Book and playing. And so I figured I could maybe get this knocked out so we don't have to worry about it tomorrow. And I could just surprise CJ when he comes home. So we'll see how this goes. what do you guys think? Here is the new pot. A lot of the leaves, I don't know if I should like turn it because this space is kind of dead. Or, you know what I could do? Hold on, I have an idea, guys, to fill up that space. All right, guys, well, I am all done. This is the finished product. This thing is just huge, and now it's even higher up off the ground. This is what I decided to do in this little blank space. I had little 4-inch, well, I had a 6-inch pot of golden pothos, and then I had a 4-inch pot of neon and a 4-inch pot of neon. And so I thought it'd be really pretty if they kind of filled that like naked space, and then those, as they vine, will just kind of cascade over this humongous pot. Cause that's kind of what like businesses and stuff do with these giant pots, is they'll have like a tall thriller type of a piece, and then they'll have what they call as spillers, and they'll have them coming out the pots, which is really, really pretty. And those are more like, I would say in here gets like medium to high indirect light, so it will be perfect for all of these pothos. Yes, baby? What do you think about the new pot, honey? Do you like it? Is it so pretty? Be careful. Don't touch. Do you think it looks pretty? Did Mommy do a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Be careful with it. Anyways, I'm glad that it's done. I'm actually shocked that I was able to do that by myself. It was not pretty, as you saw, but it's done. And now I'm super excited for CJ to see it, because he'll love it with like the pothos in the pot. And who knows, maybe I'll get some more like little 2-inch and 4-inch pots and like put them other places around like the perimeter of it. Who knows, but at least that little spot that was just kind of empty needed something, and I filled it. So, see, I have all these plants for a reason. I knew I would need those. But anyways, thank you for watching. I will have more videos to come about my Optavia and just other life updates. So I hope you enjoyed this though. Like it if you did and you want to see more plant videos. Leave in the comments below if you have any specific plant videos that you want to see. I would love to do them. And I will see you next time. Make sure you're subscribed before you leave. Bye.